Okay, hello. My name is João, and I'm going to present you RD FIXER, a project that was developed by a multidisciplinary team involving experts in computer vision, medical advisors, and business entrepreneurs. So, you probably know what minimal invasive surgery is and how it benefits the patient by reducing trauma. What you don't know is that this type of procedures are extremely difficult to execute. The doctor has to undergo a long training curve, and the stats show that in 60% of the mistakes with clinical consequences, there is typically a deficient perception issue. Correct perception of the scene that it's observed by endoscopy, it's fundamental for accomplishing good clinical results. And from the early days, the manufacturers of endoscopy equipment has strived to provide the best possible visualization conditions. First, it was all about image acquisition, then it was about image quality, and now it's about enhanced depth perception. The studies show that a correct perception of depth and the relative distance is fundamental for good hand-eye coordination and a final good surgical performance. Thus, very recently, 3D visualization was introduced in medical endoscopy. And despite of the proved clinical benefits, it's a very controversial technology among doctors, with many surgeons feeling that the benefits do not compensate the drawbacks. What we found out is that there is an alternative manner of dramatically improving the depth perception without having to replace the existing 2D systems by new 3D technology. Endoscopes in general introduce a geometric deformation in image that it's called radial distortion. Basically, this is due to physical limitations in optical construction and cannot be avoided whenever you have a small size lens with a wide field of view. And the problem is that radial distortion severely hinders depth perception. We show an example in here. On the top you have an original endoscopic image where you have the feeling that you are looking to something that is roundish, but if I remove the distortion, you clearly see that it's a planar checkerboard pattern. So basically, RD FIXER is a software system that runs in an add-on dedicated device, the RD box, that receives as input the original endoscopic video stream, corrects the distortion in real time, and outputs the result in the display for the doctor to see. You see the example, the differences before and after. So RD FIXER, it's as 3D endoscopy, basically aim to improve depth perception. How do they compare? Well, both technologies are in a very early market stage, or in our case, in a pre-market stage. Of course, that 3D endoscopy provides you a 3D impression like you have when you go to the movies, while RD FIXER will give you the standard 2D feeling. But on the other hand, 3D endoscopy dramatically changes surgical routine. This is one of the reasons why doctors are so skeptical. They have to wear goggles and things like that. Since it's based in stereoscopy, you have to pass two optical channels, shown in there. So it can only be used when you have large size, or you can admit large size optics. At this point, it's only offered for laparoscopy, and it costs 125K. On the other hand, we don't change the routines. So we can be used with any type of endoscopy. And we offer enhanced depth perception at less than 10% the cost of a new 3D system. What's the current state of the project? Well, we are patent pending technology. We can be used with both new and already deployed equipment. So the radial distortion correction has proved clinical benefits. I'm showing the results of a pilot trial that we conducted with 12 trainees in endoscopy that shows an average improvement of 35% in several surgical indicators, and this has statistical validity. And we are at TRL 5, meaning that we have a full-featured prototype that has been tried in real operation. So I'm showing in here one of our trials. You have the regular system and our system, so you have to have the two systems for safety reasons, but the important thing is that pretty much you will see that you have the doctor looking to our system most of the times. Now, we estimate that our market comprises around 500,000 endoscopy systems that are deployed worldwide. And I show in here the different verticals that coincide with specialties. So in FIXER, we will start by targeting the specialties that are surgical specialties. So you have hand-eye coordination that will highly benefit from the depth perception and that use small size lenses with wide field of view. So in this case, the distortion is particularly strong, so we'll add more value. And these are segments where 3D endoscopy does not enter. Very important, FIXER and 3D endoscopy use alternative perceptual cues to reach the same objective, that it's to provide enhanced depth perception. This means that 3D endoscopy also suffers from radial distortion, and in the long run, we believe that the two will be used together for optimality in terms of visualization. Now, this is our addressable markets. We think that FIXER will be used in 70% of the cases where there is non-neglectable radial distortion. This will lead you to a total addressable market of around 3 billion, close to 3 billion. We will start by addressing those verticals that I told you that correspond to 20% of the overall market in Europe. So we have a serviceable market of around 238 millions, and we expect to penetrate in a 5 to 6 year time frame at least 10% of this serviced market. Oh, it's our selling strategy. Well, FIXER will be sold through a network of reselling partners. This is a market of proximity, so partners that will be in the markets that we will target. But in order to create demand, you need to engage key opinion leaders. And this is done by running pilot trials, by publishing in conferences, and this will be an important fact, an important mission of the company. Our plan overview. So we'll have an 18-month startup stage that will be mainly run in Portugal. So in this stage, we will pretty much move from TRL 5 to 9 by doing the certification. We will secure the IP, entering in the national stages, and we will engage the first calls and run the first pilots to gain some market traction to make the first sales. And we will go for a second round of investment, up to 2 million, to boost sales in Central Europe by hiring a business developer, a local business developer. Our financial summary. So we are looking for 450K for this first stage that will go till the last quarter of 2014. And, okay, important highlights. You have in here then the longer term period where the sales will start ramping up from 2015 on, reaching revenues of almost 25 million by 2018, and the net income close to 5 million. So in conclusion, to wrap up, so FIXER is the only technology that enables you to have distortion-free image whenever you are using small size lenses with a wide field of view, right? And at this point, FIXER is the only solution that enables you to have enhanced depth perception in arthroscopy, neuroscopy, ENT, with proved clinical benefits. And don't forget that FIXER will place the RD box in the OR. That is a fully featured computer, meaning that there is a big potential of additional revenues by providing new features for computer-aided surgery. Some of these features are already in our research pipeline. So our investment ask, 450K for the startup stage, aiming to reach TRL 9 and make the first sales. That will be followed by a Series A round and revenues of almost 25 million in a 5 to 6 years time frame that will put us in place then for an eventual exit of investors. Thank you very much.